Welcome back to the eSports Report, presented by the Xbox One. I'm Benson, joined by the wonderful Mr. X to my left, and we got Bricey over from England. Is it raining?
No, it is quite cold though. But
is there a big clock outside?
Why would you? See, I'm asking that was just that you crossed the line on just stereotypical.
Just for the people watching MLG at the moment, obviously Mr. X was making more British jokes during the break.
He was. All about tea and crumpets, even though you're sat next to someone from England. Like that.
No, you're not from there anymore.
It's just changed.
Apparently, my passport has miraculously changed.
It's changed.
As long as I have a UK passport, that's
you're a changed man.
Nope, never. I don't want to be from where you're from. You smell funny. But moving on, we have an awesome third gameplay that we can show you. This one is a Millennium Search and Destroy Recovery. It's one of the first games from the qualifier, so we'll throw that up. But we were just talking in that commercial break about the cast-off. Obviously, pretty cool competition where you guys can enter and have a chance to try and cast at the Call of Duty World Championship. Of course, submissions are actually now over. They closed yesterday, but you know, Bryce, you've been casting for a very long time, same time as me. We kind of started really the same point. Any tips for some of the contestants which may have entered?
Yeah, a few. I mean, if this is actually more just kind of general casting tips here, like. You've got to improve your flow, and it's something that I talk about to kind of new casters here. I talk to myself, and that sounds weird. I talk to myself, but I know a few other casters do as well. You practice saying various things, and that just kind of helps you say, kind of get through your flow. It helps you kind of develop your own style. It means that you can kind of carry on a conversation without worrying about it too much. And I'm sure that's one of the things you guys will be looking for in the cast of is people who talk very smoothly, continue on. Not that they're getting too kind of hyped up in what they're own saying, a little bit nervous, just being able to carry a kind of a fluent conversation on and being confident in what you're doing.
I think when I started casting, that was one of the more difficult things. I started casting in-house with Puckett. I had known Puckett for years. I mean, very long time, 2005, 2006. But still, it was different, having a conversation on camera about something. It's difficult to get used to. I think it's a lot harder than it looks. I think a lot of people kind of take it kind of for granted.
Yeah, people kind of assume it's something very easy. Don't get me wrong, we're not surgeons. We don't have to do anything too ridiculous. But
I'm not a doctor.
I'm so glad you're
building rocket ships.
I'd be dead if you were a doctor, that's for sure.
Rel almost became a doctor.
No, he did not.
He did. He went to medical school.
Oh my! Are you serious?
Yeah, and then he quit out, which thankfully probably saved hundreds of lives.
Gee, can you imagine Rel's a doctor?
One of Rel's best traits outside of casting, he knows the word to every NSYNC song. Me and Maven just chanted on the bus for him to sing songs to us.
There is a video of that.
Yes, we gave him the PA.
Video. I remember that.
We gave him the PA.
You gave him the PA on the bus.
We just told him to sing and dance in the aisle.
Trying to bring this back on a topic, talking about casting, it's one of the things I actually say to new players while I remember, because players, when they first get interviewed, especially in the UK, because it doesn't happen as much over there. I mean, you guys have a very different kind of culture when it comes to interviews. A lot of players are ready for it. They're used to it. A lot of players in the UK, it's only starting to come kind of around that way. I mean, the top teams are now used to it, but teams that kind of come up or have a good event, putting them in front of the camera and they freeze up. They really freeze up. And one of the things you've got to get used to is realizing that this is just a conversation you're having. You would have the same conversation. Like if the cameras went on us now, guys, we'd be having the same conversation, pretty much in the same way, talking about something we know about. It's when you kind of break it down to that, you're talking about what you actually know. And it's just a conversation with people. That's the easiest way to kind of break it down. Obviously, with casting, there's switching between play-by-play and analysis and bringing up all kinds of facts. But that's something you just kind of got to get used to it and not worry about it too much. If you start worrying that you're, oh, am I looking terrible when I've just said these two words, then you're not going to be looking for the next play. You're not going to be looking for, where are my stats here? What's actually going on and how am I reacting to the person I'm with?
We just saw Marky B get that awesome one before, by the way.
Yeah,
that was sick. That last kill was absolutely. That was nasty. That was nasty.
Also, if you're casting, scream a lot.
Yes, that tends to help. I hear people enjoyed not being able to hear for the next play. It's pretty cool. But actually, speaking about that is something which a couple of people have tweeted at me. They said have you seen my application yet? And me and Matt and Puckett have been kind of going through the applications. We actually just did it before we went live, and people have been saying, I'm not very exciting, but I feel like I'm a very good analyst. What would be your tip, Bryce, to people who know the game inside out? They know absolutely everything there is to know. They know the team strategies, but they're not the hype man. They're not going to do amazing play-by-play. People are very worried about that, but I feel they shouldn't be. I feel that's a really important part of casting. So what would you kind of tell those people?
All right, I find this actually really quite simple. If you're not boring, it's okay. As long as you're not boring, it's fine. The great thing about Call of Duty is it is exciting anyway. Right. If you're watching something exciting and you're watching great gameplay, that's one of the things I love. I'm a fan of this game, and you can kind of tell when I get hyped up personally. I'm not doing it just for effect a lot of the time. I'm genuinely so excited what I'm seeing on screen.
You know what's interesting is I used to be very boring, very mundane.
You still kind of are boring.
I still kind of am. It's just the nature of my voice. I sound a little bit robotic. I sound a little bit stupid, but I never really got into it when I was still kind of the coach of EG because
of course I'm
used to watching them, so I'm kind of like, oh, whatever, this is going on.
This is EG.
Right, but once I distanced myself completely and everyone went their separate ways and whatnot, everything became more exciting. It's just fun watching great Call of Duty, and that's kind of when I started to speak louder. I get excited.
Change the tone of your voice.
I changed the tone of my voice. I've worked on it a lot.
Nobody expects you to create, magic out of nothing. Exciting things are exciting.
I mean, I'm already perfect, Bryce. I can't get any more perfect. Oh my God. That's what Maven tells me every night. And I'm perfect.
Maven's delusional. And I feel like that's something as well. Like, people need to realize everyone improves. Like, everyone. We're still learning. All three of us, we're still learning every single day.
One day I'll improve. It'll be amazing.
I mean, no one is expecting us to find that perfect cast. That's going to be impossible because everyone has, things which they need to improve on. But I'm really excited for the cast off. I'm not going to lie.
You'd be surprised. People at home would be surprised the amount casters dislike their own cast. I think that would surprise a lot of people. I know for a fact that many of the you guys, you've probably heard it as well. The amount of times the cast come off, I didn't like that one. It wasn't as good as I could have done. And that's more people going, they constantly want to improve. The day you're convinced that you've perfected casting is the day that you're a liar and shouldn't cast anymore.
Yeah, that's the day you become crazy.
Nah, I think it's kind of the same thing as being a player. You kind of get addicted to getting better at something, and you just want to do it more and more and more. And I feel great about that with casting. Is that at least in me, I love to get on camera every day and do it just from the standpoint that I want to get better every single day.
Right.
I'm convinced that this Call of Duty Advanced Warfare is now so fast that I'm going to need an extra lung implanted for play.
Have you realized that?
What I'm saying.
It feels. I don't know what it is. I remember when we were watching the trailers and we were at Gamescom and we were kind of like, yo, this game is real quick, and people were like, well, I feel you need to say more words per minute, etc. But I don't know.
I think first of all, like in Hardpoint, the average kills per game has gone up.
That's
probably
true.
Something silly like 50%. It's massively higher now. And also, like, kind of describing what you can talk about someone moving past the lane or moving past a specific part of the map. Now you've got to explain how they've just gone up, down, left, right, jumped off a small building and boosted across the map in 3 seconds.
That's true.
And that's something like obviously we've all had to adapt to. I mean, a lot of people have been saying, they can tell that the casters are trying to speed up with the gameplay. When you've got 8 players jumping in a hardpoint that can all burst across and change positions in half a second, it does become a little bit harder.
I love it.
For me personally, I kind of like to take a step back at that point, but it is difficult trying to keep up with the gameplay and explain what's going on.
Yeah, craziness. Well, that gameplay has actually just ended. You see Millennium pick up that 4 versus 3. Hope you enjoyed us three kind of just rambling on about various different things. Hope you learn about the European format. That's the most important part of this whole segment is that you learn how the European qualifier is going to work. And of course, you can catch that Saturday, February the 28th. 28 teams from 8 EU regions going to be competing for their spot at the Call of Duty World Championship. Very, very excited. I'm definitely going to be watching that one because I want to find out more about these European teams. Not really casted any of them, really. Not really had time to watch. So this really is going to be a good time to learn a little bit about some of those Europeans.
We're going to be watching you, Bryce.
Yeah, Bryce. Don't mess up, man. You've just been giving all these up-and-coming casters tips. Don't mess up.
I really hope I don't now. I also think I think a few Americans will be watching because obviously these are the teams. Some of your favorite teams, if you're an American, are going to be playing again. Right. You're going to kind of want to know roughly how that's going to go. You're going to want, I actually watched that team in the European qualifier, so I know they're really good at X map, or I know they're good at Hardpoint, or this player's a monster. And I think that's a good thing. A lot of people should watch it.
Definitely, completely agree with you. But thank you, Bryce, for coming on the show.
No problem.
Really appreciate
Love
it.
you, Bryce.
Shedding some light. Guys, make sure you follow Bricey on Twitter. His ad is at the bottom of the screen there, at Bryce-tacular. And for everyone in the chat that's asking, no, we are not related. For like the thousandth time, I'm fed up with people saying that. It's annoying. I am far better looking than Bryce will ever be. And I have better hair too. So on that bombshell, we should probably go over to a commercial break. Bryce, thanks for joining us today. Catch you at the EU Regionals. For now, guys, quick commercial break. Be right back.